My quick question is, why is it people like Sanjay Hegde, who are from your state and glorify Tipu Sultan as a great hero, great freedom fighter and so on and so forth? I mean, I've headbutted him on Twitter on Tipu Sultan many times. What, do they get paid? What is it? What is this phenomena?
Who is Sanjay Hegde?
He is an idiot, but from your state.
No need for headbutting with idiots, right?
There are others like him.
How true is this reported fact that at the time of his death, this fellow was wearing a ring carrying the name of Bhagwan Ram? Have you heard about it?
I've come across this, but in my research, I don't think there's any basis in history for this.
Another question. Tipu was just one of the many Muslim sultans in Karnataka. There were sultans of Bijapur and others after the death of Vijayanagar Empire. I'm sure these guys also would have done a lot of pillaging and conversion. Why don't we talk about them as well? Or was their rule more benign or something like that, or what?
Okay, all these sultans of Bijapur, they were not really sultans. They were just, Nawabs ruling over a few villages. And perhaps if they had been given an empire as vast as Tipu Sultan, perhaps they would have done the same thing. It's not for the lack of, it's only for the lack of opportunity and not the lack of intent.
There is a lot of misconception that Tipu has done some great good to the Sringeri Sharada Peetham, the first Peetham established by Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya. And there are a lot of Hindus who go around tom-tomming that, which is actually a lot of distorted versions floating around in public. There has to be some formal and some sort of an authentication of what exactly conspired. And why are Hindus so enamored with this fact that, oh, he did something good for the mutt? What he did was something very political. I'd like you to throw some light on that, please.
I explain this in detail in chapter 15 of my book. So, just to summarize that, it is a historical fact that Tipu gave a lot of endowments to the Sringeri mutt. But it is also equally true that one swallow does not a summer make. So, at the time that Tipu visited Sringeri, it was more an act of surrender and begging, to put it in layman terms. So, you must understand the historical context of that. I think it was 1789 or something, around that period, where all these, he began to piss off everybody, not just in South India, but even the Marathas. All unprovoked rage, breaking treaties and unnecessarily imposing Islam, converting people, converting Hindus, carrying off Christians. So there's a limit to human patience. So they all decided together that we have to teach this guy a lesson. So a combined force of British and Marathas and even the Nizam of Hyderabad, this great protector of Islam didn't even spare his own religionists. So he would raid the Nawab of Kurnool, he would attack the Nizam of Hyderabad. So everybody got pissed and they said, we'll teach him a lesson. They ganged up and they attacked him. So as a result of that, I think that was the third Anglo-Carnatic war. As a result of that, Tipu lost more than 2/3 of his territory. He had to sign a humiliating treaty of surrender. He lost almost 2/3 of his territory. Then he agreed to pay 33 lakhs as war indemnity. So until he paid those 33 lakhs, he had to send his children as hostage to the British. So he finally kind of, realized that, somewhere I should tone down. And he could no longer afford to victimize Hindus, brutalize them. So he figured out that, okay, Sringeri was the most powerful, most venerated seat of Hindus in all of South India, generally speaking. So he went to the Swamiji, gave a lot of, gifts, land grants, gold, jewelry, whatever, and then wrote a, letter of apology, a very sweet letter that politicians usually do. So he wrote a beautiful letter, and that's enough for these Hindus, right? That's enough for these guys. So they look at this, it is the Hindus that brandish. I think Dr. L said that if you talk against Islam, You will face problem not from Muslims but from Hindus. So these Hindus existed in Tipu's time as well. So this is a nature. So he had to act as a supplicant and earn back the goodwill of the Hindus. So this is the context in which he wrote the letter and gave the gift to the Sringeri temple. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm sorry I had to butt in. I just felt like the marginalized voice of truth in history, because I was sitting this side and I was going on raising my hand, but nobody saw. So I really liked your talk and looking forward to reading your book. So I'm from Bangalore myself, and I'm fully aware of what you talk about, the distortions, the way we were all taught in school that he's like this real hero and everything. My question is, sir, have you spoken with educated Muslims in Karnataka about this book, about your findings, about the truth about Tipu Sultan? And if you have, what has been their response? Because my personal experience has been that the biggest pushback in the South to any voice of reason, despite being educated, is from educated Muslims themselves.
Okay, there are good question actually. A couple of threads in this. I have actually spoken to what you refer to as educated Muslims, and I've had look. So I've had TV debates on this each time this Tipu Jayanti nonsense used to come up. I've had TV debates where Muslims were invited, and their stand comes directly from whatever is taught to them in wherever they learn. So their stand is that, Hindus and Muslims are bhai. It is the British who are the enemy. This is my experience. It's available on Kannada TV debates that I've had, several of them I've had, and this is their stand. So what they forget is that until just 50 years ago, no Muslim family in Karnataka used to name their male children as Tipu, which means the amount, what does it tell you? The fact that street dogs, mongrels in Sakleshpur, Coorg, they're called Tipu. What does it tell you? They had a deep sense of shame and humiliation was attached to Tipu Sultan's name. Does that answer your question?
Sir, thank you for your talk. Just had a simple question. I grew up watching The Sword of Tipu Sultan, that serial by Sanjay Khan. And when you talked about the rocket scientist deal, I understood. I think they showed he firing, those missiles in that serial. So what's the deal with the rocket scientist? What is the myth? How did it crop up? The myth.
It's a myth. So okay. So Tipu had close military ties with the French. They supplied him with what were known as military rockets, which, loosely speaking, were some kind of missile launchers kind of thing of those days. So those who wanted to glorify Tipu obviously thought that they were real rockets and Tipu had actually invented them. This is the backstory to that. So I've given the detail in my book, but yeah.
Hello, sir. Is this just a coincidence that Lakshadweep, which is very close to the coast of Kerala, also has 98% Muslim population, or does Tipu Sultan has a role in this too?
Lakshadweep, as far as my reading goes, I don't think he had any influence on Lakshadweep.
I have a question about the religious composition of Tipu Sultan's army. When he went on all these punitive expeditions, was it like it was with Mughals where you had a majority of Hindus in the army? Or what was the composition like? And maybe the officer ranks were Islamic? I don't know. Could you throw some light on that?
Yeah, so that is the other thing. Yeah, what is valid for the composition of the Mughal army or any army of those early sultanates of Delhi? It holds pretty much the same true for both Hyder Ali and Tipu. It's a mix of both. The top ranks of the officer rank of Tipu's army was more or less 100% Muslim. Rest were mix of both Hindus and. There were some French soldiers who he recruited, freelancers he recruited in his army.